Greetings, YouTube. I normally would say happy Tuesday, but this subject matter is not very happy because it continues to discuss something which has been data mined on Chinese servers and discussed sort of in terms of code. We haven't got anything specific, but Kabam Mike and others keep hinting about the rebalancing of Namor. And I just have to say, some people, I'm not going to say they're very few people, but some people are so stupid that they will argue with people that it's not a nerf, it's a rebalance. I have seen that literal comment, I don't know, at least 4 times online. That's like if a woman came up to you and said, "Does this dress make me look fat?" And you said, "No, it just makes you look bigger." That's the same thing. So a rebalance is just a fancy way to say nerf, meaning you're making a champion that you thought was supposed to work the way that they were released worse. From damage output to maybe the amount of times that they crit, sometimes utility, etc. So this is the first time I can think of, and I have been sent this screenshot a lot. In fact, I haven't even gotten through all my messages because I have a small amount of time to make this video, and so I'll try to get to them after this. But it is a post from Kabam Mike saying the following: "We're open to making iterations if need be, but not until you actually get to experience the champions with their changes. We're not going to make any changes based on just the write-ups. The delay was about gathering information and being able to present it to you all in the best way we can. This is still coming, and you will now include more information about a compensation plan that still needed to be perfected. You'll have it before the end of the month, as we said." YouTube, I also get a little triggered when I see people in the comment section saying, "Every game rebalances champs. What's the big deal?" Not every game has a loot box mechanic to have to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to try to guarantee yourself a high-starred rate of the champion that is featured in the crystal. You will have to spend hundreds, if not thousands, to try to get that 5 or 6 star new champion. The Crystal Opening Whale has shown us that for over a year now, and in some cases I've seen him have to spend so much money that it cost him, I think, over $5,000 or over 500 of the featured Cavalier crystals just to pull the 5-star version of the new champion. So when you spend $5,000 to get a champion, and the champion actually performs how you hoped that they would perform, that causes you to be incentivized to spend a lot more money on days like July 4th and Cyber Weekend to buy rank up materials from Tier 2 Alphas to Tier 5 Basic to Tier 4 Class Catalyst to Tier 4 Basic to Tier 1 Alphas, etc., etc., etc. But most importantly, it causes you to use, say, the free 5-star generic Awakening Gem on, say, Christmas, that if you, those of you who are Cavalier, on the champion, to use SIG stones that you've collected or especially purchased on said champion. And I will probably have a separate video about this at some point. But the theme is as follows. If you give out compensation because you're rebalancing, aka nerfing a champion that is now worse than what you spent your resources and money on, you should not only get rank down tickets that cover the materials that it costs to rank up that champion, but you should also get awakening materials to get awakening gems and 6 stones back. You should be able, if that champion is SIG 82, you should be able to get an awakening gem and a 82 generic 6 stones, or at least a class awakening gem and class 6 stones. But if it was Kabam and I was part of Kabam, Lord help me, I would actually make everything generic so that way the community may not be as incentivized to be as upset, because let's say my Namor was SIG 200 and I used a generic awakening gem on him. I get the generic back and 200 generic 6 stones, and maybe I used some class-based stones on him. Maybe I even duped him multiple times. If Kabam has to take a hit because they're generic instead of class, so be it. They're the ones that screwed up by not testing their champions out enough and not realizing that they were as OP as they are now, because trust me, if they were not as OP as they turned out to be, especially Cole and Namor, this discussion wouldn't be happening. So a compensation plan, yes, but the takeaway from this video is that it's not just good enough to compensate for rank up materials like Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 4 Class Catalyst, Tier 5 Basic, etc. You need to get the Awakening Gems and the Signature Stones associated, and they should be generics, and that actually also gives people a pretty cool thing to have happen, where if you used a class-based Awakening Gem on that champion, you get a bonus generic in its place, or maybe even better, if you naturally got lucky and you duped them out of a crystal, you get an Awakening Gem if you want. So it becomes a case where you might actually gain more valuable resources from the compensation, but that's what Kabam should have to do for screwing up their testing and making it to where we now have to have this discussion about compensation for rebalancing champs. Please leave your comments and the thoughts below. Have a good day.